What would you do if you woke up to find your private yard turned into a stranger's wedding venue without your permission? I'm talking white chairs crushing your flower beds, a floral arch looming over your freshly mowed grass, and a bride posing by your birdbath like it's her personal photo shoot. That's exactly what happened to me one crisp morning, and let me tell you, it wasn't a dream, it was a nightmare orchestrated by the neighborhood tyrant, Karen, the HOA president with a clipboard and an ego the size of Texas. By the time I was done, though, her perfect little wedding was a stinking disaster, and her reign of terror was history. It all started 2 weeks earlier when Karen, with her fake smile and power suit, cornered me at my mailbox. She didn't ask, she demanded. "Your yard's perfect for my cousin's wedding," she said, like my private property was her personal playground. I laughed, thinking she was joking. My lawn, fenced in and paid for long before the HOA existed, wasn't up for grabs. "No way," I told her, firm but polite. Her eyes narrowed, lips pursed, and she clutched her clipboard like a weapon. "It's just one day, Mark. Don't be selfish." I shrugged it off, expecting her to drop it. No follow-up, no flyers, nothing. Big mistake. Karen didn't hear. No, she heard. Challenge. Fast forward to that morning. Violins wailed through the air, pulling me out of bed. I peeked through my curtains and nearly dropped my coffee. My lawn was unrecognizable. Rows of chairs sank into my sod, a champagne table crushed my sprinkler line, and a catering van blocked my driveway. A woman in a bridal robe twirled by my lawn gnome, her veil draped over it like a prop. I was torn between laughing and screaming. Instead, I grabbed my phone, pulse pounding, and stepped outside. Karen spotted me and waved like I was a guest at my own damn house. "Morning, Mark," she chirped, striding over in a blazer that screamed. "I'm in charge. Ceremony's at 11. Don't worry, we're almost set." I blinked, dumbfounded. "You're holding a wedding here?" She tilted her head, smug. "You said you'd think about it, so we took it as a yes. Your grass is greener than the park's, and they were booked." My jaw hit the floor. "Karen, this is my private property. You had no permission." Her smile turned patronizing. "You're overreacting. It's a few hours. The bride's family donated to the HOA for the space. It's basically official." I stared. "You took money from my yard?" She waved a hand. "We'll thank you in the program if it's about credit." I laughed, because the alternative was hurling a chair. My flower beds were trashed, my sprinklers ruined, and strangers sipped mimosas on my property. "You have 5 minutes to leave," I said, gripping my phone. Karen looked stunned, like I'd slapped her. "You'd ruin a wedding? Are you that petty?" Petty. Her favorite weapon, thrown at anyone who dared defy her, like when she fined me for a crooked mailbox or chewed out a neighbor for early Christmas lights. I smiled. "Karen, I'm just getting started." I stormed inside, not to call the cops, not yet. I had a better plan. I dialed Joe's Septic service. "Joe, how early can you get here tomorrow?" I asked. He chuckled. "How early you need? Got a full pump and clean next week. Big tank, right?" "Yup," I said. "Make it 6 a.m. full service, extra loud." "Hosting a party?" he asked. I grinned. "Something like that." For the rest of the day, I played along. I let them stake my lawn, string lights in my trees, and turn my yard into a bridal magazine spread. I even nodded when a caterer asked to use my hose. But I was scheming. I set up trail cams, snapped photos of every tire mark and tent pole, and watered the lawn heavily, knowing it'd turn to mush under their feet. Most importantly, I tested my sprinkler's manual override. That evening, Karen sauntered over, smug as ever. "Can you move that wheelbarrow by the side yard? It's ugly for photos." I smiled, happy to oblige. She squinted, suspicious, but I knew something she didn't. Under that wheelbarrow, 3 feet below, was my septic tank lid. At 6 a.m., Joe's truck would unleash a stench to rival her arrogance, and I'd be sipping coffee, watching it all burn. The night before the wedding was quiet. Karen's crew finished by dusk, Leah VYing my yard a glowing fantasy string lights, a red carpet to the arch, linen-draped tables with name cards. I counted the chairs, each leg sinking into my soil, EVY denke I'd use later. At midnight I checked the setup one last time, then slept for 4 hours. At 5:28 a.m., I woke, pulled on a hoodie, brewed strong coffee, and opened my window. A low rumble announced Joe's arrival. His truck massive, dented, with a hose like a fireman sparked right in front. Joe, in a cap reading, "Sewage King," saluted. "Morning. Good day for it, huh?" I nodded. "Make it loud." He laughed, flipped switches, and the hose roared to life. A wet, slurping sound filled the air, the unmistakable churn of a septic tank's depths being unleashed. Birds fled, porch lights flicked on, neighbors' curtains twitched. At 5:52, the bride's mom, hair in rollers, staggered out in a silk robe, spraying air freshener like it'd save her. "What's that smell?" she wailed. "Septic tank cleaning," I said cheerfully. "Routine maintenance, scheduled weeks ago." Her eyes bulged. "The ceremony's in 5 hours." I shrugged. "Didn't know about a ceremony." "No one asked?" Karen appeared, heels clicking, suit sharp enough for Wall Street. "Turn it off," she barked, jabbing a finger at Joe. He glanced at me. I sipped my coffee. "It's a health procedure, Karen. Wouldn't want a backup during vows, would we?" Her face turned beet red. "You did this on purpose." I smiled. "It's my property. I maintain it as I see fit. I hear the park's free next weekend." The bride, in a plastic garment bag, gagged at the stench, her makeup artist trailing like a ghost. "It's like a porta-potty exploded," she cried. Karen spun. "It's fine. We'll light candles." The photographer, muttering about lighting, dragged his gear away. A groomsman tripped over Joe's hose, spilling soda cans across my lawn. The bride shrieked. Joe cranked the machine louder, the sludge-sucking echo rattling the street. By 6:30, chaos reigned. Early guests loitered on the sidewalk, avoiding the air. Kids were herded away by a flower girl wielding roses like a sword. The caterer, REVYing with egg trays, nearly dropped them, gasping. "Are we by a landfill?" Karen begged me to stop. "I'll pay you anything." I stared. "You trespassed, trashed my lawn, and sold my yard without permission. Now you want mercy?" Joe's hose gurgled its final slurp. "Back in an hour for the flush," he called. "Keep clear of the hosey, it jumps." Karen's heels sank into my soggy grass as she retreated. The bride sobbed on a bench, her veil a flag of surrender. The stench lingered, a heavy fog. By 8:30, my lawn was a disaster zone. The odor clung to dresses and tuxes, guests fanning programs or fleeing to cars. The bride's makeup streaked, the groom looked like he was bracing for a tsunami. A breeze dragged the smell deeper, triggering gags and a kid's wail. Karen barked orders, MOVYing tables to dodge the septic zone, but the wind laughed at her. A guest opened a quiche tray and retched. The cake arrived, and the delivery guy, gagging, thrust it at Karen and bolted. At 9, Joe returned, truck roaring. Karen spun. "You said you were done." Joe shrugged. "Big tank needs a double flush. It's in the contract." She turned on me. "You scheduled this twice." I sipped my coffee. "Karen, you wouldn't want sewage leaking during vows, right? You're all about standards." Guests retreated as Joe's machine resumed its churn. Across the street, neighbors watched Mr. Lee in a lawn chair with a beer, Mrs. Patel filming discreetly. Everyone had a Karen story. This was their revenge by proxy. At 9:30, the bride erupted, screaming at Karen for bypassing the park. "You lied!" she yelled, storming off, the groom trailing with his jacket over his face. Groomsmen hovered near my garage, eyeing me nervously. I just watched. Karen's lies stealing my yard, misusing HOA funds were unraveling. She tried one last plea. "Can we move the vows inside your house?" 10 minutes! I stared. You broke onto my lawn, trashed it, and now want my Levy-wying room? One step inside, and I'm calling the sheriff's not your fan. She flinched, then forced a smile. You've made your point. Have I? I said. The wedding's ruined because of you. She walked away, heels crunching gravel, the septic roar mocking her. At 10:30, a ragged ceremony limped forward. The bride and groom stood by the arch, guests in a half-circle, tissues to noses. The officiant's mic crackled, cutting out mid-vow. Joe packed up, but the stench hung heavy. A gust hit during the bride's vows, scattering guests. An old man tripped over a pot. The bride stopped, sobbing. No one clapped. The reception was cancelled, trays untouched, cake unboxed. Karen sat alone, clipboard abandoned, her HOA dream shattered. I hadn't broken a law or raised my voice, just cleaned my tank at the worst possible time for the most entitled woman I knew. Monday morning, my phone rang early. Sarah, a quiet HOA board member, asked to meet. She arrived with two others, Mike and Lisa, looking guilty. I laid out Karen's trespassing, lawn damage, and fake donation. Sarah's eyes widened at the financial claim. Mike muttered he'd never approved it. Lisa admitted Karen buried it in vague, community event, minutes. Sarah showed me a receipt, signed by Karen a week before she approached me, billing the HOA for tents and catering. It was fraud. They planned an emergency meeting to suspend her. I went, not out of duty, but to watch her fall. The HOA clubhouse was packed, phones recording. Karen arrived late, expecting to charm her way out. Sarah listed her crimes: fund misuse, unauthorized events, property violation. Karen interrupted, claiming a misunderstanding, but Mike read the bylaws requiring votes for fund use never held. Lisa exposed Karen's lie about my soft yes. I played my recording of her admitting she took my silence as consent. The room went silent, her voice damning her. A vote removed her as president, effective immediately. She threatened lawsuits, but no one cared. Sarah escorted her out as neighbors glared. The fallout was swift. The bride's meltdown, filmed by 3 phones, went viral, racking up millions of VYUs. Karen's face became a meme, her clipboard a symbol of tyranny. The bride's family filed a county complaint, revealing no permit was issued, triggering an HOA audit. It uncovered improper fines, missing funds, and Karen's unbacked expenses. I filed a CIVYL claim for DULA $3,200 in lawn damage, crushed soil, broken sprinklers. With my footage, it was a slam dunk. Karen was ordered to pay. Her employer, unimpressed by her, community leader, LinkedIn, cut ties after the VY-Deo spread. Neighbors apologized, sharing their own Karen horror stories over coffee. The street relaxed, no more clipboard threats, just sprinklers and laughter. Karen's reign was over, her arrogance undone by a septic tank and one neighbor who refused to bend. My lawn grew back, but the story, controversial, divisive, and unforgettable, lived on.